Here is the list that shows the 34 distinct events that Abraham played a role in according to the Torah scroll. Events 11 through 15 have been crossed out. In this video, I'm going to take you through the next 5 events. The red box here is showing events 16 through 20. Event 16, Abram given Hagar. Event 17, Abram names Ishmael. Event 18, Abram becomes Abraham. Event 19, Abraham finds favor. And event 20, Abraham gazes. Event 16, Abram given Hagar. We can see this event is made up of 3 steps. Step 1 can be found in Genesis 16, verses 1 through 3. Step 2 can be found in Genesis 16, verses 4 through 5. And step 3 can be found in Genesis 16, verse 6. And in this step, we can see Abram standing there with Sarai and Hagar. The verses read, Abram's wife Sarai bore Abram no children. Sarai had an Egyptian maidservant named Hagar. Sarai said to Abram, Hashem has restrained me from bearing. Consort with my maidservant. Perhaps I will be built up through her. Abram listened to the voice of Sarai. Sarai took Hagar after 10 years of dwelling in the land of Canaan and gave her to Abram as a wife. The step above shows Sarai giving Hagar to Abram. Step 2. Abram consorted with Hagar and she conceived. When Sarai saw that Hagar had conceived, she noticed Hagar had despised towards Sarai. Sarai said to Abram, It is your fault that this has happened. I gave Hagar to you, and now she knows that she is pregnant. She despises me. Hashem shall judge between us. The step above shows Hagar pregnant and Sarai blaming Abram for going along with her plan. Step 3. Abram said, Your maidservant is in your hands. Do unto her what you think is best. Sarai dealt roughly with Hagar. Hagar then ran away from Sarai. The step above shows Abram putting the responsibility of Hagar in the hand of Sarai. Sarai is shown mistreating Hagar. The sequence of event 16 describes Sarai giving Hagar to Abram as a wife. Sarai has the idea that she can be built up through the child. Abram goes along with the plan and receives Hagar from Sarai. Abram consorts with Hagar and Hagar conceives. Sarai was not pleased that Hagar developed despise towards her. Sarai tells Abram that it is his fault for what has happened and demands that Hashem judges between who is right. The Torah scroll is not exactly specific on who is to be judged. Is Sarai asking for Hashem to judge between Abram and Sarai or Sarai and Hagar? Abram responds in a way where he puts the responsibility in the hands of Sarai. Sarai will do something bad enough to force the pregnant Hagar to run away. Event 17. Abram names Ishmael. We can see this event is made up of 1 step, and that step can be found in Genesis 16, verses 15 through 16. In the event, we can see Abram standing there with Hagar and baby Ishmael. The verses read, Hagar bore Abram a son, and Abram named his son Ishmael. Abram was 86 years old when Hagar bore Ishmael. The event above shows Abram naming Ishmael. Event 18. Abram becomes Abraham. We can see this event is made up of 8 steps. Step 1 can be found in Genesis 17, verses 1 through 2. Step 2 can be found in Genesis 17, verses 3 through 6. Step 3 can be found in Genesis 17, verses 7 through 8. Step 4 can be found in Genesis 17, verses 9 through 14. Step 5 can be found in Genesis 17, verses 15 through 16. Step 6 can be found in Genesis 17, verses 17 through 18. Step 7 can be found in Genesis 17, verses 19 through 22. And step 8 can be found in Genesis 17, verses 23 through 27. And in this step, we see Abram standing with Hashem. The verses read, "When Abram was 99 years old, Hashem appears to Abram and says to him, 'I am El Shaddai. Walk with me and be Tamim. I will establish my covenant between me and you, and I will increase you most excessively.'" The step above shows Hashem appearing to Abram. Hashem has a request of Abram to walk with him and be Tamim. Tamim in Hebrew could be interpreted without blemish, wholehearted, or perfect. Interestingly, Noah was a man who walked with God and was Tamim. Hashem tells Abram that he will establish his covenant with Abram and increase him. Hashem established the rainbow covenant with Noah. Step 2. Abram threw himself upon his face, and God said to him, "This is my covenant. You shall be a father of many nations. Your name shall be Abraham, not Abram. I will make you exceptionally fruitful, nations of you, and kings shall come forth from you." The step above shows Abraham falling on his face. This is the first bow that is performed in the Torah scroll. Hashem told Abraham to walk with him. Abraham responds by halting all forward motion and falling face down. Hashem extends Abram's name to Abraham and introduces Abraham to a covenant of abundant offspring. Step 3. I will confirm my covenant with your offspring as an eternal covenant, to be a God to you and your offspring. I shall give to you and your offspring the whole land of Canaan as an eternal possession. I shall be God to them. The step above shows Abraham standing as Hashem talks to him. The Torah scroll makes no mention that Abraham got up from his face. Hashem tells Abraham that he and his offspring will be given the whole land of Canaan, and Hashem will be their God. Step 4. And God said to Abraham, "You and your offspring throughout your generations shall keep my covenant. Every male among you must have the flesh of his foreskin circumcised. This shall be the sign of the covenant between me and you. At the age of 8 days you must perform the circumcision. Born in your house or purchased with your money shall be circumcised. He that refuses to circumcise his foreskin has broken my covenant." The step above shows an abstract depiction of circumcising the foreskin. Step 5. And God said to Abraham, "Your wife Sarai, no longer call her Sarai, for her name now is Sarah. I will bless her. I will give you a son through her. I will bless her, and she shall give rise to nations, and kings will issue from her." The step above shows Sarah, wife of Abraham. Step 6. Abraham threw himself on his face and laughed. Abraham thought, "Shall a 100-year-old man have a son? Shall my wife Sarah, who is a 90-year-old woman, give birth?" Abraham then said to God, "O Ishmael will live before you." The step above shows Abraham falling again on his face. Nowhere in the steps from when Abraham fell on his face till now does the Torah scroll ever say that Abraham got up from his face. This is the second bow that is performed in the Torah scroll. Event 18 is very much scripted like Event 15. In Event 15, the Torah scroll never said that Abram awoke from his vision. In Event 15, Abram was doubting and questioning Hashem. Here in Event 18, Abraham is now laughing before God. It is interesting to see that Abraham is attempting to bring Ishmael into the conversation. Step 7. God said, "Sarah will bear you a son, and you will call him Isaac. I will fulfill my covenant with him and his offspring. I heard what you said about Ishmael. I have already blessed him. He will be fruitful and increase excessively. He will beget 12 princes, and I will make him into a great nation. But I will maintain my covenant through Isaac, whom Sarah will bear to you about this time next year." God then left Abraham. The step above shows Ishmael, son of Abraham. Step 8. Abraham took Ishmael, the male servants, and the male members Abraham had bought with money, and circumcised them on that day God had spoken to him. Abraham was 99 years old, and Isaac was 13 years old when they were circumcised. On that day Abraham was circumcised with his son Ishmael, the male servants and the male members Abraham had bought with money were circumcised. The step above shows Abraham in the process of circumcising Ishmael. There are male members of Abraham's house in the background after their circumcision. It is important to note the phrase "on that day" at the end of event 18. "In that day" appeared at the end of event 15. The sequence of event 18 describes the covenant of circumcision and Abram and Sarai receiving new names. Hashem appears to Abram and asks Abram to walk with him and be tamim, without blemish, wholehearted, or perfect. Abram responds by falling on his face. Abram was told to walk with Hashem. Abram reacted completely opposite to what was asked of him. Hashem tells Abram that his name is now Abraham. Hashem tells Abraham that kings will issue from him. Hashem tells Abraham that his offspring shall inherit all the land of Canaan. A sign of the covenant will be Abraham and his offspring circumcising the flesh of their foreskin. The circumcision must be performed 8 days after a male is born. Hashem changes Sarai's name to Sarah and tells Abraham that kings will issue from her. Abraham falls on his face again and begins to laugh. Remember, Abram was told to be tamim. Hashem is being serious and Abraham is down on his face laughing at Hashem. Abraham attempts to put Ishmael at a higher level than Hashem by saying that Ishmael will outlive Hashem. Hashem tells Abraham that Ishmael was already blessed with becoming a mighty nation. Hashem departs from Abraham. Abraham circumcises himself, Ishmael, the male servants, and the male members Abraham had bought with money on that day. There are many references to what occurred in event 15 that tie into what is occurring in event 18. The correlation between event 15 and event 18 will be accentuated in the Power Panels chapter. Event 19. Abraham finds favor. We can see this event is made up of 10 steps. Step 1 can be found in Genesis 18, verses 1 through 5. Step 2 can be found in Genesis 18, verse 6. Step 3 can be found in Genesis 18, verse 7. Step 4 can be found in Genesis 18, verses 8 through 15. Step 5 can be found in Genesis 18, verse 16. Step 6 can be found in Genesis 18, verses 17 through 19. Step 7 can be found in Genesis 18, verses 20 through 21. Step 8 can be found in Genesis 18, verses 22 through 31. Step 9 can be found in Genesis 18, verse 32. And step 10 can be found in Genesis 18, verse 33. For step 1, we see Abraham rushing from the tent to Hashem and 2 angels. The verses read, Hashem appeared to him in the forest of Mamre while he sat at the entrance to the tent in the heat of the day. He raised his eyes and saw 3 men standing away from him. He saw them and ran towards them from the entrance of the tent. He then bowed down to the ground. He said, My Lord, if I have found favor in your eyes, pass not away from your servant. Water will be brought to wash your feet, Relax underneath the tree, and I will fetch some food. Then go, for you have passed your servant's way." They replied, "Do so, just as you have spoken." The step above shows Hashem and two angels appearing to Abraham. Abraham runs out, bows, calls them Lord, and asks to find favor by having water brought to wash their feet, plus preparing a meal for them to eat. Step 2. Abraham hurried to the tent and told Sarah, "Quickly make 3 measures of meal from fine flour. Knead it and make cakes." The step above shows Abraham hurrying over to the tent and speaking to Sarah to make the cakes. It is possible the cakes were made unleavened. Sarah was in such a hurry to make the cakes that there was no time for the yeast to rise. Step 3. Abraham ran to the cattle and took a calf that was tender and good and gave it to the young man who quickly prepared it. The step above shows Abraham running from the tent and taking a calf from his herd. Abraham gives the calf to one of his young men to prepare. Step 4. Abraham took cream, milk, and the calf that was prepared and placed it all before them. Abraham stood over them beneath the tree as they ate. They said, "Where is your wife Sarah?" Abraham said, "She is in the tent." Hashem said, "I will return a year from now, and Sarah will have a son." Sarah was listening from inside the tent that was behind them. Abraham and Sarah were old, and the manner of woman was no longer with Sarah. Sarah laughed to herself, thinking, "Shall I have smooth skin after being withered? Also, my husband is too old." Hashem asked Abraham why Sarah was laughing, then said, "Is anything beyond my power?" Sarah denied laughing, but Hashem told her, "You did laugh." The step above shows Abraham standing over Hashem and the angels as they eat. Step 5. The men got up and gazed toward Sodom. Abraham walked with them to escort them out. The step above shows Hashem and the angels being escorted out by Abraham. Step 6. Hashem said, "Should I hide from Abraham what I plan to do, now that Abraham is going to be a great nation and mighty with all the nations of the earth, blessing themselves by him? I love him because he orders his offspring and household after his ways to keep the laws of Hashem, doing righteousness and justice, so that I will bring the promises I have spoken upon him." The step above shows Hashem speaking to Abraham as they are walking. Step 7. Then Hashem said, "The outcry of Sodom and Gomorrah has been severe, and their sins have been very evil. I will descend to see if they act according to their outcry. If it is true, I will destroy them. If it is not true, then I will surely know." The step above shows Hashem speaking to Abraham. Hashem will be the one who will descend and look upon Sodom and Gomorrah. Step 8. The men departed to go to Sodom while Abraham stood before Hashem. Abraham came forward and said, "Would you destroy the righteous with the wicked? What if 50 righteous people live within the city? Would you destroy the city or spare the city for the sake of the 50 righteous people? It would be sacrilege for Hashem to bring death upon the righteous along with the wicked. So the righteous will be as the wicked. That would be sacrilege to you. Will justice be performed by the judge of the earth?" Hashem said, "If 50 righteous people reside within the city of Sodom, I will spare the city for the sake of the righteous." Abraham said, "May I speak to my Lord even though I am dust and ash? What if the city lacked 5? Hashem said, "I will not destroy the city if I find 45. Abraham said, "What if 40 are found?" Hashem said, "I will not destroy if there are found 40. Abraham said, "Do not be annoyed, my Lord. What about 30? Hashem said, "I will not destroy if there are found 30. Abraham said, "My Lord, what if 20 are found?" Hashem said, "I will not destroy if there are found 20." The step above shows Abraham coming forth and questioning if the righteous would be treated as the wicked. Abraham is beginning to negotiate with Hashem over the life of Lot, who resides in Sodom. It would appear as though Abraham is counting down to see at what point Hashem will not spare the city. Step 9. Abraham then said, "Let my Lord not be annoyed, and I will ask but one more time. What if 10 would be found there?" Hashem said, "I will not destroy the city if 10 will be found there." The step above shows Abraham naming the final number of righteous people to be found in Sodom. Abraham named 10 righteous people, and Hashem agreed to that number. Step 10. Hashem left Abraham's presence after Hashem finished speaking to Abraham. Abraham then returned to his place. The step above shows that Hashem and Abraham have left the scene, and the angels are getting closer to the wicked city of Sodom. The sequence of Event 19 describes Abraham attempting to find favor, then later pleading for Lot's life. Abraham had just circumcised himself in Event 18. Time passed since the circumcision, and the event starts out with Abraham running out to greet Hashem and the angels. Abraham bows to his guests, calls them Lord, and institutes the formula that if water is brought out and they wash their feet, and then food is brought out and they eat, then Abraham will have found favor in their eyes. The guests tell Abraham to do so as he has spoken. Abraham tells Sarah to quickly bake cakes. The cakes could have been made quickly and the yeast did not rise. Abraham ran to the cattle and took a choice calf and gave it to a young man who quickly prepared it. Abraham took cream, milk, and the calf and placed it before the guests. The Torah scroll describes all the details that went into the preparation of the food. Nowhere does the Torah scroll say that water was brought out for the guests to wash their feet. Therefore, Abraham did not find favor in the eyes of his guests. Hashem tells Abraham that he will return in a year and Abraham will have a son. Sarah laughs at the idea and then denies it. Abraham walks with his guests to escort them away. Hashem tells Abraham that destruction will be brought upon Sodom and Gomorrah. The angels depart to Sodom, and Abraham came forward to plead for Lot's life. Abraham tells Hashem that he is only dust and ash. Abraham counts down from 50 righteous people to 10 righteous people. Hashem agrees that destruction on Sodom would not occur if 10 righteous people reside in the city. Abraham named 10 righteous people, and Hashem agreed to that number. Hashem departs, and Abraham returns to his place. Event 20. Abraham gazes. We can see this event is only comprised from one step, and that step can be found in Genesis 19, verses 27 through 28. Looking at the event, we can see Abraham standing out before Sodom and Gomorrah, and we can see Sodom and Gomorrah up in smoke. The verses read, "Abraham awoke early in the morning and went to the place where he had stood before Hashem. Abraham gazed down at Sodom and Gomorrah and saw the surface of the land. The smoke from the earth rose like the smoke of a furnace." The event above shows Abraham standing where he stood before Hashem at the end of Event 19. Abraham gazes down upon Sodom and Gomorrah. Abraham sees the smoke rising from the earth, such as the smoke that rises from a furnace. In the next video, we will look at events 21 through 25. So I'll see you in the next video.